So I'm back with Pururvas' story, and let's see how the lineage progresses. So what happens is Pururvas becomes a mighty king. He is wise, he is kind, he is powerful, and the stories of his valor spread all across and also to heaven. Everyone in heaven is also aware of Pururvas's might. And just by listening to his glories, an Apsara, the most beautiful of Apsaras, named Urvashi, falls in love with him just by hearing about him. Now, how Urvashi is born is another story. We'll discuss that some other time. But what happens now is there was this festival arranged in Satyaloka, or the realm of Lord Brahma, where Urvashi was invited as the main dancer. But the thoughts of Pururvas had kept her distracted. She was constantly thinking of Pururvas, and she had to dance, so she started dancing, but she was constantly thinking about Pururvas at the back of her mind. And Brahma could understand that something was not all right today, something was off with Urvashi. He used his yogic powers to understand what was going on, and he understood that Urvashi was actually distracted by Pururvas. So Brahma apparently cursed Urvashi that you will have to take birth as a normal human woman and get married to Pururvas. So Urvashi accepted the curse, and she was born as a human being and got married to Pururvas. Before marrying, Urvashi had given three conditions. Number one, she had brought two baby goats with her from heavens. Pururvash had to protect these two goats at any cost. This was number one. Number two, she would mainly feed on ghee in the castle. Mainly, she would eat ghee. And number three, she was no way ready to see the king without any clothes except during sex. So these were the three conditions, and the king happily accepted all these three, and all these three were being maintained properly only. But something was going on in heaven. The king of heaven, Indra, was missing Urvashi, because at the end of the day, Urvashi was his court dancer. So he was missing Urvashi, and he conspired to get her back to heaven. So he sent a messenger to kidnap those two goats at night. Now, while Urvashi and Pururvas was having sex, uh, Indra's messenger kidnapped those two goats and started bringing them towards heaven. And those goats started crying. The sound of the goats made Urvashi very anxious. She stopped everything and immediately ordered Pururvas to get those goats back. She doesn't know how, but she has to have them back. No way. So she ordered her husband to get them back by any means. Now, Pururvas, before he could come up with a solid plan, he had to act, because he had to protect those two goats at any cost. So, without even wearing clothes, he rushed out of his castle and managed to get those goats back from the messengers. And the messengers, also seeing the king naked, felt uncomfortable, and left the goats and went back to heaven. Now he got those two goats and brought them back to the royal palace to and gave them back to Urvashi. Now this was not a sexual time, yet he was undressed. So actually, two of Urvashi's conditions got violated. Number one, he could not provide sufficient security for the baby goats because Indra's messenger had stolen them. And number two, like Urvashi had to see the king without any clothes in a time that was not sexual. So in either ways, two of the conditions were broken, and Urvashi was no way going to stay, and she straight away left for heaven. Now Pururvas was left like confused what to do now. He didn't know anything. He ran from here and there in search of Urvashi, mad in love. He went to all possible places and finally came to Kurukshetra. There he met Urvashi, and Urvashi consoled him, saying that you are such a mighty king, you are so knowledgeable, you should not mourn like that for a simple woman like me. Go back to your royal work. But no way Pururvas was going to be consoled. So that's our story of Pururvas, and yes, it kind of has a sad and sad ending. And the lineage continues. Like during the very short stay of Urvashi with King Pururvas, they had six children, and we will discuss about the next king of a lunar dynasty in the next video. Thank you.